15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. 15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. Fuck yeah!
Welcome back to episode 16 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. We just talked to Lauren Jean from New Orleans. She made me drink some liquor. Good times. Now we talked to my main man, Paul Flans. See how he's doing down in Queens. I think there's going to be a lot of... We'll talk about Mookie Wilson and shit. Who the fuck knows?
Hello?
Yo, Paul Flans. Oh shit!
Hello?
I can hear you. Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, hold on. Yeah. I'm kind of like.
You trying to do some weird speakerphone shit? What are you trying to pull?
No. I got. Do you hear me
Yeah, I do.
clearly? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's I had the
Live stream on.
the live stream on. Yeah, Mike Princess would have hung up on it.
Well, I'm not quite as surly as Mike Francesa. I might fall asleep like Mike Francesa, but I'm not quite as combative.
But I just remember when he used to do that. When someone used to be like, "Oh, you know, turn the mic off, turn your radio off." Just like,
So, Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun, that's a song you wanted to play right before you. That's a great coming to bat song. You think anyone's
that was my, if I could pick one, if I played in the major leagues, that would be
that'd be
bat,
one
bat every game. Yeah,
first of that. I wonder if anyone's ever used that.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a great one.
I would. My go-to would have been Cab Calloway's "Everyone Eats When They Come to My House." Have a banana. I like it's. I don't know. It's a goofy like.
That's that's a good one. I think there's like the I don't know the intimidation factor plays into
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have songs in mind for your other at bats? Because you have to have like pretty much 4 if you're a starter, right?
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Do they ever reuse them? Do they do like the 4th one is the same as the first?
I'm pretty sure if I remember, they have 3 at bat songs, and then it's like
they
go back
around
to the first. If I remember correctly. Like I'm trying. The first person I think of is Paul O'Neill, out of all people.
Yeah. Oh, Teenage Wasteland, I remember from him.
And in Teenage Wasteland, Mississippi Queen, which I think Mississippi Queen is sampled in Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. And something else, and it used to go over again. Like I think you come back to it.
Yeah. I think Teenage Wasteland was always like 3rd. Like that would always come up. I remember him like when he'd come up with like 2 men on in the fucking 8th inning or something. Like it seemed like that's when it would.
That
like,
was number 3. Okay.
I think that was a big one.
But there's definitely been stuff where I've read up on like this the like belief in like walk-up songs, and Chicago, I guess it keeps it traditional. They only have an organ player.
Yeah.
Then,
Chicago. So Wrigley, is that what you're saying? They don't have.
Cubbies, yeah, they don't have like particular walk-up music. I don't know if they have something along the lines of they can request something from the organist, but they keep everything.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
I've seen one game at Wrigley, and I honestly didn't remember. I guess that just never factored in. I was too.
Yeah, you never hear it from when you're watching it on television too. For some reason.
Yeah. Have you been watching a lot of sports this year?
No, not at all. I mean, I've been following the Mets games.
Yeah.
And I watch them on like the ESPN Gamecast, and I follow along with that. But I'm worried if I get the package with the Mets, it's absolutely going to shut the season down. I'm still like, oh man, how is this going to?
Wait, you're worried about what?
Them shutting the season down.
Yeah.
How long is this going to really go for? What's the reality of this?
Yeah. I thought about that too, like maybe trying to watch Giants games this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I pay for the NFL package? Because it's probably not going to go the full. It's probably not going to work out. Like,
I can't imagine what the amount of contact those guys have.
Yeah, there's
You know?
there's no way. Like there's really no way. I don't
Mhm.
think. You know.
I mean, there's been issues in baseball where, like,
Yeah.
you know, a visiting. I mean, the Marlins are the dirtiest team in all of baseball. You know, taken after their owner there. You know, I don't know. You know,
Who owns him now? It's not still Loria, right? It's,
no, it's Derek Jeter.
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever.
You know?
I mean, how dirty is Derek Jeter? He's
The women he's been with, probably. I don't know. You know,
all right.
he has
fair
quite
enough.
the reputation up here. You know, but. Like it seems like anyone who gets close to the Marlins will catch COVID. You know?
Yeah.
So.
They're the
It,
spreader team.
I think it was the Phillies first, and it was the Nationals, and the Mets. It's like
Yeah.
AL East team. Right after they play the Marlins, like two people come up.
Are you walking around a room while you're talking to me, or what are you doing?
No. Kind of still. Okay. Let me. I'm gonna
There you
move
go.
to usually where I call from. How's this better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
Are you on? Oh, is it? You're not on speakerphone. You're just like the service gets weird in your house.
Yeah. I'm just making sure I'm in the right spot in the house. That's all.
And you're down in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
And
Bayside.
Bayside. You're supposed to go back to school teaching next week. Have they figured out what's going on with that?
Yes. Today is like the big, like, okay, yes, tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. Well, tomorrow's still going to be Wednesday, but they were going to have the big, like, meeting, and it was kind of going to come down to whether we strike or not.
Yeah.
But today, at like about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, they finally came to a decision that everyone is, I guess, kind of happy with.
Okay.
So the idea is that we're going back. I'm going to be back at work on next Tuesday.
Okay.
But the kids get pushed back from the 10th, which would have been Thursday, into the 21st.
Okay. So.
Which is a good thing for teachers, I guess. It gives us lots of time to prepare because we don't know what the hell we're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've never been part of a strike. Would have been interesting to be part of a strike.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's not going to really happen. So there's weird things.
You're going to show up next Tuesday and get prepared to teach in classroom?
I don't know what my role will be. There's people, I mean, I'm assuming because I never said I wanted to stay home.
Yeah.
I never made an indication that I wanted to, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable coming back.
Okay.
That I probably would be one of the people who would be willing to, who would teach in school.
Yeah.
Basically, the plan is like this. Kids are going to come Monday and Tuesday, meet with their classroom teacher.
Which is you.
Which would be me, hopefully. I mean, they could still say plans go home, teach from home. I don't know.
The kids could, or who could?
No, the administration.
Okay.
New York. I don't know what my role is. I have no clue. I'm still going in blind.
Yeah.
A week to go, I don't know what I'm teaching, who I'm teaching, how I'm teaching.
And are you saying that some teachers might be teaching from home and some might be teaching from the classroom?
Yes.
So you should do some like Zoom calls and like cough classroom is better for you to an extent, right? It's like a little less work.
Well, here's the problem. From what everything that's been described to me has from the perspective of a general education teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mostly, out of my 5 classes, I teach 4 special education.
Yeah.
So the physics one, I wouldn't even know because there's no other physics teacher in my school.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how they would handle that. But just for the sake of, let's say, my Algebra 1 special education class, general education, what they're describing is the teacher would come in, teach Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday would be like a cleaning day, prep day for the teachers, and I guess they would clean the school.
And you would do work online during that day. Theoretically,
this is how bad they are. I have no idea what they're
doing. They don't tell you what you're
I
supposed to do.
haven't been told
that day,
anything.
yeah.
We still haven't had the calendar put out, and I'm guessing because the kids aren't coming back on 21st. I wouldn't be surprised if like Christmas was shortened, or one of the breaks was shortened or something like that. Because the kids are going to be losing something like, I guess I'm looking at
A
the calendar
tremendous
now.
amount of days by
Yeah,
doing only
yeah.
2. Yeah.
Probably like 8 days or something like that, you know? So that's a whole other thing, you know? So then I would have off on a Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday I would go back in and teach another group of students.
Okay.
Okay? Kind of what I taught other kids on Monday and Tuesday, I would teach them on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Now, I would be working directly with a co-teacher who would be working from home. So more or less, I'd be like, okay, I'm covering this on Monday and Tuesday, and that person would be like, well, okay, on Thursday and Friday, I will give the students this and this.
Okay,
You know,
so you
from
don't have
home.
to. You don't have to double up with those students on the off days.
Yeah. So they'll be like almost like a team of teachers. So there'll be the person who works from home. There's going to be the person who's in the classroom. You know.
Yeah. And you would be the person in the classroom.
Yeah, I'm hoping. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
They could tell me something different. You know.
Yeah.
So at this
A
point,
week away that's bananas, man.
Yeah, exactly. Because just I would say last Friday they kind of sent this thing out with all the possible roles we could have.
Yeah.
You know, but in that context, just to like preface things from me saying from a special ed standpoint, they didn't mention anything about special ed people.
Yeah.
It was kind of more along the lines of it kind of meant, you know, general ed, you know, you have your typical 35, you can't have more than so many, you can't teach more than so many kids, you would still be protected. It wouldn't be like, oh, now you're teaching more kids because you're not teaching, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, so
for your special ed classes, like how many kids are in your general class before this happened? Like,
okay, so in a special ed, a self-contained classroom that I usually teach, we're by law not allowed to have more than 15 kids in the class.
Okay.
That's the maximum class size, no matter what, no matter where you are. And you know, you have to have 15 kids, and which is okay. It's usually not 15; it's usually more along the lines of 12 or 13.
Yeah.
You know,
and so maybe sometimes it's 16, and it's not a big whatever. Is that?
Well, it is a big deal. If it's 16, you're supposed to report it, and they gotta make adjustments for that and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's usually at the beginning of the year. Sometimes it is a little weird like that.
But usually it's under. Okay.
Yeah, it's usually under. But still, those are the kids who need more hands-on work and like who really that hurts them with the online learning. Those kids are really the ones who really are going to suffer.
So
you know?
Last year, when it all of a sudden in March went to online learning, you have all these classes. How did that work out? Like, is it possible to teach the same kids? You know, because you were forced to do it right away, right? Right? Was it March?
Yeah. It was like, well, they kind of. I mean, other people have had like instances where they were like first like giving them busy work, other districts, but New York City kind of took the line of we're going to continue classroom education, just do it online.
Okay.
And they weren't prepared for it. It was a lot of talk. It wasn't really anything feasible at that time.
Yeah.
And so they had us, you know, we were doing like full online stuff, and which was difficult for the kids because the kids, I mean, I always said I wish we had an extra few days to work with the kids in the classroom, though it was unhealthy. Like just for taught them how to go online. Here's where the work is going to be.
Exactly.
You know,
It
took some of my kids probably 3 weeks more. You know, like to figure out like, okay, this is where I got to log in every day. Every day.
It's like a catch-22 kind of where if you could have had a week in class with the kids to teach them how to be an online student. That would have,
And it took like some of these, you know, students. It took forever, and you know, I think there was the intimidation factor, the access to technology, all this stuff that was going crazy, you know. And now we're coming back. And we're really not any more prepared than we were in June.
Yeah,
you know,
I think because everyone seemed to like be hoping that things would just be normal.
Yeah, I guess that would be the real thing. I mean, the whole idea is, I mean, not to go on a political rant here, but definitely like de Blasio, our mayor down here,
wants to open schools.
Wants to, you know, his statement was something along the lines of easing the burden on parents. And I understand that too, but I don't even know if this really eases the burden on parents. You know, because if you think about it, your kids go to school 2 days a week. Is that really like
Yeah.
give you time to work? And
Yeah,
what if you have
exactly.
elementary school? I mean, I teach high school, so I'm assuming most of my kids can stay home without burning down the house.
Yeah.
But what if you have like elementary school kids, and stuff like that, and it's insane.
They're still gonna have to find health care or child care for the other
Probably,
two days that they're not there. 3 days. Yeah, absolutely.
3 days. 3 days
I
out of the week.
I think it points out like we just don't have a good system for especially for parents and for child rearing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
our medical care. Like you and me are like single dudes that like kind of live on the fringes to an extent. Like, but if you have kids. We don't have we don't have a good society set up for people to like have kids and have health care and just live normal lives.
I right now I'd probably be shitting myself because I had kids home and I was like a single parent or something like that. I'd have to hope I was one of those online teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Otherwise, what am I going to do?
Bring them into the classroom with you. Can you do that? Like,
No,
there's no one else in the classroom with you, so why not? I mean, why couldn't they be there theoretically? But
yeah, it's insane. And the other thing is with the conditions. Under certain conditions, they have to close the school and go to remote learning.
Yeah.
In New York City. Yeah.
Okay. So you talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. So in New York City, the current infection rate is 1.3%.
Okay.
Which I don't know if it's low or high or what that means necessarily to the general population.
Fair enough.
But basically, according to the school's chancellor's rules, if you have one student who has this, that class, any class that student participates in, has to go online for like 14 days. You're basically put into quarantine for 14 days. Go home. You're learning online. If there's 2 students in the school, they have to close the school until they do contact tracing and find out everyone's been in contact with.
Jesus.
Now, I work in a small high school. We have 500 students. So at 1.3%, we're talking about 5 or 6 kids.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you have it walking in the first day of school.
So it's going to shut down day one.
Well, it's how they do the testing. It's very much, the Trump University School of Mathematics here.
Well, yeah.
They're going to
if you don't do any testing, then you don't have any.
Right. You don't have any.
Not a lot of people have it if you don't test them. Hey.
Yeah, we have 0%. It looks great. We're doing fine. But what's really happening is that they're going to do random testing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know
exactly. like fucking baseball players for steroids? What?
Yeah, more like that. Yeah.
Hey kid, move over. Hey kid, you look a little sneezy. Get the fuck over here. We're gonna shove this shit up your nose. All right.
Yeah. And
hey, little Jose Canseco, get the fuck over here.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's so any student who refuses it has to be sent home.
Wow. And, okay, if you were a high school kid, immediately.
Right?
No. My my religious beliefs.
Yeah. I don't know. Right. I don't know how I'm going to react when they stick I still haven't got tested, so I don't. Yeah. That swab thing, the way they describe it, I don't know. I could picture gagging. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know how I'll be able to.
But kids, like, of course, like, I can leave if I cough and say I'm not going to take this test. I'm fucking out. Of course I'm out.
Their number's going to get called, at some point during the school year, and the idea will be, okay, you're being tested. And if they refuse, they're like, I'm not getting tested. I don't want to get tested. They have to go home. Teachers are suspended without pay if we refuse to be tested.
Wow. Huh?
Yeah.
And the students, if they refuse to be tested, they sent home, and they can't come back?
I think they have to go fully remote until they can agree to.
Okay, wow.
And there's a percentage of the DOE who are opting out. The DOE gave
Department of Education, right?
Yeah, Department of Education gave teachers and parents and students the option to opt out and go full remote.
Yeah.
And there's another group of teachers who are just going to be doing that.
Okay.
So,
if you like, say you tested positive, right?
as a teacher,
Yeah, as a teacher, can you be like, I'll just teach from remote, or do
I don't know.
what do they do? Do they suspend you? Do you still get paid?
Well, I have sick time and stuff like that, so I'm sure.
So you'll have to use your sick time for that?
Yeah, there's so many questions, Kevin, that are unanswered. That, like, the idea that them rolling this out is it's insane.
Super late. It's no one knows what the fuck's going on. It's like poorly run. I think
I wouldn't be surprised if by early October we've already folded things up and going back to remote learning.
It's like everything. Well, when you get everything so fucking politicized, nothing can run properly. Like nothing is run. With the best ideas, they're run by like, oh, if you think this, then you must be fucking this kind of fucker. Like you know,
and that's the type of thing. Like, see, I mean, we get like hints of it here in New York City when there's a snow day. And it's such a big deal when the principal, the mayor calls a snow day.
Yeah.
Because suddenly all the students are home and businesses can't operate and blah blah blah. You get all this stuff, and he comes under so much pressure for those, and especially if he calls a snow day like prematurely, and we don't really have that much snow. It's like, oh, it's the winter. Those types of snow days, like those are like the worst, and he takes a lot of heat for that.
Well, this is one of those instances where why don't we make sure parents make enough fucking money to take a fucking day off if they need to, or have childcare if they need to? Like, why don't we make sure that we live in a world where people can have kids and they're taken care of if they, don't have school for a couple days? Like, it's bananas. It's like there's no reason to live like this. Like, in my opinion.
I mean, that's the example of a once every year, maybe twice a year snow day. Yeah. Now we're talking about like the COVID thing where it's months.
Yeah.
So like, and the whole pressure of like New York being shut down, is such a, people are losing money and jobs and businesses, by the day. And I mean, I understand where he's coming from. It's like, get this open and that financial pressure, but, there's all this talk about what's going on here. How are we going to, I mean, a lot of the talk is just, is New York ever going to be the same again? Are we, still going to be that, financially, they would say the financial engine of the United States, I don't know, it's such a, like, it's all these businesses, leaving, I'm even wondering what the students coming back to school are going to be like, as far as like parents moving out of town, just not being able to find jobs down here, work down here.
Yeah. Oh, you think the enrollment will be less?
Like my kids who are from like the poorer backgrounds, which I teach in the public school, so a lot of them are, like their parents are like, chefs and, they're working not high-end chefs. They're working in a restaurant. They're cooking in a restaurant. They're a house cleaner. Like if that stuff is drying up, like they can't afford to live here. Like what are you gonna do? I mean, I guess I have, kids who, have many parents who work from home now and stuff like that, but I know a lot of parents who don't, So it's very, very, like, the whole, like, nature of this, like, pandemic and how it affects people in so many
New York City especially, it's very... I mean,
it's
teachers
really,
and New York City especially is very fucking brutal, like,
it's I was hoping for a strike. I was like, oh, okay, it would be nice to have an extra couple of weeks of vacation.
And on vacation, what are you doing? You're modding amps and fucking modding pedals?
I'm modding pedals right now. Actually, I today I was working on a Boss Metal Zone that I've been working on, and it's like 1990s style. I guess it's supposed to give you like that Dimebag Darrell like story.
All right, I remember the Metal Zone vaguely, but yeah,
but it sounded like shit.
Okay, and so
like it's become a popular one to mod, and I bought the like capacitors. Someone sold me a kit of like all the capacitors that you have to change in it, and what else? You put a switch in and a diode in it, you know. So you have to change it up, which is cool and it's fun to play around with these things, you know, and especially because
you got it sounding good.
Actually, right now I kind of have it laying. I ran out of solder, and it's if anyone who knows this type of pedal, it actually, sounds impossible, sounds worse than it used to.
Ian Fuller is nodding disapprovingly at you. Not in the chat. I just can feel it from my bones. You know.
Yeah, I just ran out of solder. I think I accidentally soldered two capacitors together. So it started making these like wild noises. It was kind of fun, like kind of solder. But you know, but I'm learning, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something actually I take to school a lot. These ideas, like with working with it, because with the physics class, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like kids love the class for like these 2 days I have in the classroom. I have one where I just bring an electric guitar and an amp into the classroom.
Oh, wow.
And that day, the kids go freaking crazy, you know? They love it.
Yeah.
You know, because one of the things
And what are you playing? Can you do Riff Raff? Because that's a kind of hard riff.
I can do the main riff from Riff Raff.
Yeah.
Like,
You can do that? Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's not too crazy. It's just, well, you have to get it down, like, but it's
Yeah.
just because you don't have to really move your hand because it's always like the A power chord,
I know.
and you don't really move from there. But I don't even play that much. What I do is as the kids come in, I'll play a little bit, you know, and when they come in, what should we call it? You know, we'll talk about the guitar. That's like their do now, that board work. Like, how's the guitar making a signal that sends it to an amplifier? You know, the idea of like, like it's an interesting thought. It's maybe one of my first lessons on electromagnetic induction. You know, like creating electricity from magnets, and that's like a perfect example of it. You know, and so we talk about it. And so for 5 minutes, the kids are asking questions and wondering how you know, I'm trying to explain to them, you know, the electric guitar has no power cable, has no batteries in it. You know, it doesn't have an obvious power source, but somehow I'm creating electricity. How is that working? You know, and then like talking about it and trying to figure it out. And then like after, you know, first 5-10 minutes of that, then I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. Someone else play it. And like, just let the kids for the next 40 minutes, like play that thing. They love it, you know, like that's the rest of the period. I just sit back and watch, and they just, you know, are playing the guitar, you know, like, and I always think about it. And I personally, I remember when I was a kid, like a little kid, probably like 13, I would go to like a Sam Ash, and I would pick up a guitar and plug it into an amp, and the salespeople would get so fucking pissed at you, you know, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You want to buy something? Where's your mom and dad? You know, like that type of shit. You know, so like to me, the idea of like, okay, here, no, fuck with it, do whatever you want. I had this old like Stratocaster that I had it back when we were living, you know, in college. It's a little piece of shit. Probably like but I use it as like my experiment guitar. Whenever I'm like, you know, trying to figure out how to do something on a guitar, I'll do it on that guitar first. So if I mess it up, you know, it doesn't really matter. So I just take it. I usually, the day before, I threw some new strings on it. I have this little practice amp I bring in, and the kids it's just like, and then my other classes, when they come in, they say, oh, an electric guitar? And I'm like, yeah, go play it. And like that, like for that day is like my day off. It's great.
You're the cool teacher. You know? Yeah.
Once. And then a few weeks later, what I do is I bring the guitar, the amp, and I bring my pedal board in. And when we start talking about waves, you know, and the idea how
for the physics class.
Yeah, for the physics class, you know, and it ends up being the other classes too. It's just so tempting to be like,
I got a pedal board.
Because the kids are so like enamored with the idea of, oh, I need to scramble guitar and play it. Yeah, go ahead. You know, like do whatever you want. You know, and you know, they love hitting the pedals and making all the noises. You know, and the idea, you know, with a nice like a pedal board, the idea of manipulating the waves, the sound waves in a certain way, or the electrical impulses to create different types of sounds, and they just love that shit, you know. And I said, I always think it's like that. I'm also giving them the opportunity to just make stupid fucking bad noise on a guitar, and that's great, you know. Like you never get to use that. So many kids like come back to me later, like, oh, I'm gonna buy a guitar now.
Well, you have a
Yeah,
kid that's what, remixing Injustice for All, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's a drummer. You'd like him.
Yeah.
He's one of my special ed kids. He's like the most hyperactive human being I've ever met. And like drums are like the perfect thing for him.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
more hyperactive than Danny Pickles?
Yes, by far, not even very close.
All right. Then yeah, I'm sure he's a very good drummer.
Yeah. I mean, and so he's always into like drums and stuff like that. But then like he starts playing with GarageBand a lot, and so his whole idea was remixing.
Yeah.
I guess someone did for And Justice for All. They did a Justice for Jason.
Yeah,
which
they
is a
put some
remix
bass
of,
in. Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't like that. He thinks that's overdone. So his mission recently has been to remix And Justice for All his way. And
So where does he get the original tracks? Is it you find those online?
Yeah, I guess what he's doing is I know he was able to get the
Original
individualized track. Somehow you can
whatever
get
they're called.
like the guitar left track, guitar right, the drums, the bass, and stuff like that somewhere. I don't know how he does it, how he got it, but he's been sending me for the past couple of weeks like his remixes of certain songs, and he's like, oh, I think he's just having fun and learning with it, which is cool. He's actually he's graduated like over a year ago, so so it's okay that he sends you stuff.
I've done a lot of time driving across this country, and like there was a time I was driving out to Pennsylvania right after Trump got elected, and I'm driving through central Pennsylvania to meet up with Husky Burnett to play, drums for his blues act.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
And it's just a fucking gray November day, and I put on Injustice for All, and that like the tightness and the fucking compression on that fucking album. I'm like, I am listening to the perfect fucking album for driving through Pennsylvania right now. Like that album is meant for driving through the middle of Pennsylvania on a gray November day.
I remember I blew out I had this like shitty stereo, and I blew out a set of speakers on that album. It's that type of album. It has its moments. I mean, I always thought that the like lack of bass was more of like an artistic choice.
Yeah.
Like that was just where they went with it. It was maybe being experimental, like maybe make it the way it sounded, because they certainly did some shit like that on what's that? The Saint Anger one with the movie, right? The one they did with the movie.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely, I don't know what they were thinking with the sound of that one, but
yeah.
But the idea that someday might do something.
Justice for All sounds good. There's sure there could be more bass or whatever, but it was, I don't know. I remember I don't know where you were when you saw the Enter Sandman video, but I was in my friend Tom Zowski's house. And it was all of us sitting around, like on couches, the chairs. I was sitting on the floor, and MTV premiered it, and we were like, okay, yo, what's going on? And that was after Injustice, so it was like, and I remember watching it and just kind of glancing, because I was young. I was like 11th grade or whatever. I was insecure as fuck. I'm glancing at everyone around me like, is this good? Because I don't think it's good. It was just like what does everyone else think? And I honestly think we got up and we're like, oh, that was cool. And then we all left and we're like in our own insecurities. We're like, was that really cool? No, it was garbage compared to anything off Injustice. You want to say Blackened to Enter Sandman? You're out of your fucking mind. Like,
right. It's definitely that. I mean, you can't even put it
Harvester of Sorrow or Enter Sandman. No, you're out of your fucking mind if you think they're in that's not. They shouldn't even be the same band.
I just when I got that album, I just remember thinking like, okay, it's not the I don't know, like as smart as the previous albums. Like it almost like they dumbed it down. I think to a point where we're not going to have a 9-minute song with 18 different riffs in it. They were more like, okay, let's just put it together like normal people put it together songs with like 3 riffs and a chorus and a verse and go like that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like totally like down on the Black Album.
Yeah.
I
know a lot of people who loved it, but
yeah.
I don't know. It wasn't.
And at that point, I hadn't seen Metallica live, and it was fun during the that Black Album tour to see them. I saw them. They played Nassau Coliseum 3 nights in a row, and I got to see them 2 of those 3 nights. Like 2 nights in a row, I saw Metallica play.
Okay, I had seen them. I think I saw them on Injustice.
Yeah.
And then I saw them on the Black Album. But the Black Album was like Suicidal Tendencies and Danzig opening, right?
Was that it? I thought it wasn't. Okay, no, I'm thinking of something else. It was one of those things like
the Cult opening. I think was Injustice. In my, I think I saw them with the Cult opening.
Was it Slayer and Testament for? I remember one tour. See, I had this friend who I could get to go to concerts, but it would always have to be like certain bands. And I just remember when Injustice came, I knew he liked Metallica, but whatever it was the opening band. He was just like totally like, I don't know,
I think Injustice, because Jim Tinger, fucking, God that he is, he saw them do the Master of Puppets at the fucking Civic Center with Ozzy as headliner. Ozzy as headliner. Them as backup, and
so
that was
like,
just that. If you ever seen Cliff Mall, where they do all the fucking the graves on the stage? Yeah, they did that at the fucking Civic Center, and I was like,
that must have been insane.
It was like right before like I was old enough to go to thrash metal shows,
Yeah, so like I would like get my friends to go see certain shows, but there was always like that one like band, like if he was like I don't know, weirded about, we wouldn't go see him,
Yeah. Okay. So he so what? He would go see.
Like I think I wanted him to go see. I think I thought when they hit Nassau Coliseum, like Testament opened for them, or someone, maybe it was Queensryche, I don't know. And he didn't like the first band, so he's like, I don't know what he had a problem with it. So I couldn't get him to go. But I really loved Metallica. But when Metallica came around on the Black Album, they didn't have an opening act. They just did like this little movie, and he was all about it. Like. Yeah, I'm let's see. And then I don't know. I just always trying. Long Island is a weird place to like see shows, though.
Yeah, I mean every place is.
Well, I just think about my youth and like what my friends were into, and like trying to get them to like I would be more into like certain bands and like Metallica and Slayer. I'd be like, oh, let's go see them, and they'd be like, but they'd all be always like, oh, Van Halen's in town.
Yeah. Are we losing it? Am I stepping on something and shit?
Yeah, I'm good. I just went to get up to grab another beer, and I pulled my my headphones out of my phone.
Do you think that there'll ever be a time like that again? Like we grew up. I'm 74. You're what?
74.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that late 80s thrash was like such a great time for rock and roll, in my opinion. Like you had Metallica, Slayer, all that shit. Like, do you think? And we all bought the albums. I owned Appetite for Destruction 4 times. Like hard copy.
Yeah. Like you had the cassette and you fucking wore it down.
Yeah,
the wheels fell off, and
we would bootleg shit. Like you would give people, bootleg copies of albums, but it was like still, you would go to the shows, you support, you were spending a lot of money on the bands, in particular. Do you think it'll ever be like that again? Like, I don't know.
I don't see. Like, it's funny not being in it. Like I don't. What does a like a 16-year-old who would potentially be exposed to that music think about it. You know, I have this kid in one of my classes, in one of my special ed classes. He's not the kid who's remixing Injustice for All, but he's like the trench coat wearing, black hair type
the
kid. You know,
Columbine kid, right?
yeah. He's not that type. He's not violent,
okay.
but like the music he's into is like Slipknot, Marilyn Manson. He likes,
and that's weird in this because he's 20 years behind his time.
Yeah. And I thought that. I mean, I guess people really love Slipknot. It's just the mask thing gets me with that band. Like if they wouldn't wear a mask, I would buy an album just to hear what they would sound like. Yeah. But once the mask, it's like that's it, man. No, I can't wear that. It's ridiculous.
You're just not into it. But Gwar, you'll listen to the shit out of, huh?
Well, that's a different story because that's the masks are part of the like ridiculousness of Gwar.
Yeah. Okay.
While this is supposed to be like that frightening or shocking element, like the ridiculous. When it comes to the point where it's like campy, it's okay. You gotta give me 2 seconds. I had to grab a beer or two. Yeah. Okay. Good,
I'll be right back though.
I don't know. I'm not going anywhere. What I got? No.
Paul Flans playing Riff Raff?
Yeah, that's me.
Killer, man. Sounds great.
I even have the SG out today. It's perfect.
So are you going after a Malcolm Young kind of fucking guitar sound?
No. You can't. Those guys, Malcolm and Angus Young, were just Marshall amps, like SG, and he played Malcolm played the Gretsch straight into, that's it.
Malcolm played the Gretsch into the Marshall into like a fuzz box or something. Like
no, not even that. No, they were straight up. No pedals. They never had any pedals. Actually, there's a company which actually makes a pedal now. So for the sound, what happened is Angus was going to record something, and he's like, "There's something wrong with the tone," and they like haven't changed their fucking setup in 50 years.
Yeah.
And he was like, he couldn't figure it out, and he's plugging in straight in on a cable into the Marshall, and he's like, I don't know what's wrong, and they switched to amps like the old amps that they used to make sure they weren't, and they couldn't figure it out. And what they figured out, this guy started researching the tone, and he realized that on stage, Angus wears a wireless system, so he can run around and do all his, duck steps or whatever he does, and flying around. So he wears a wireless system, and that does something particular to his tone in the way, and he used to record it in the studio. Like in the studio, he would even wear the wireless system.
Gotcha. Weird.
And so this guy actually, they came up with a pedal that I guess there's some slight compression or a slight something it does to his guitar tone.
Yeah.
That is, critical to emulate that. I think he might have that pedal in his system, like today. Whatever that happened with that old, radio control unit he used.
Yeah. Huh. And I mean, Angus is still playing, right?
Yeah. Malcolm's passed away.
Yeah.
They actually recorded an album. They recorded an album this past, I think, winter. They got Brian Johnson back, Bill Rudd, Cliff Williams, Angus. They got their nephew who was playing on tour with them, I guess, the past couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess what they did is they found, I mean, because those guys were prolific in like just writing riffs and shit like that, like, and so they found a whole bunch of like Malcolm's old shit, and they started writing music together. They put the album together.
Oh wow!
And
his old riffs. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So they're using lots of Malcolm's old riffs, because that was like the writing process, the two brothers writing together, and then they did grow it to the rest of the band. And the other guys have always been like hired guns, and so they got the classic lineup. Basically, without Malcolm, and I think they have it pretty much done, but they don't want to release it this year. They're going to wait till they can start possibly, they want to open it, get it out, and then do a huge, crazy tour with it.
I went through a delivery shift. I don't know. It was probably like 2 months ago, but I started with Riff Raff, like because I heard Scott Ian talk about it. That was his favorite song.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
So I listened to Riff Raff. So then I listened to that full album.
Powerage, right?
Powerage, yeah.
That might be the best album. That might be the best album.
I did a delivery shift where I listened to almost the full Bon Scott discography in one delivery shift, and I just went from album to album and album because they're not long albums, and it was holy shit. I like Highway to Hell was my first introduction to them.
That's a great one.
I think it's and then Back in Black is such a good There's so many hits on Back in Black.
I mean, almost the perfect album.
But it doesn't have the raw dog of Highway to Hell or Beating Around the Bush or fucking Night Stalker. Highway to Hell has that darkness to it.
What's the one I love of If You Want Blood?
If You Want Blood, I love that stuff. Yeah, that's fucking. It's so good, man.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. It's I don't know. Like Bon Scott is, he was the rock and roll front man. Like Back in Black is the best, one of the best rock and roll albums of all time.
I think it's like the number 2 or number 1 all-time selling
Highway to Hell. Highway to Hell, it's Bon Scott or Riff Raff. Like what? What are you even fucking doing, man? The whole album, Live Itch, is fucking killer.
What's the one? What's the one with the he plays the fucking bagpipes on?
Oh, that's it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Come on, how do you do that? That's why you still rock playing the bagpipes. Yeah. That whole era, if you go down the AC/DC rabbit hole, there's a lot of fucking music. They have, I think it's something it's 14 hours or 24 hours of music. If you count all their newer stuff and everything like that. And
they have Axl Rose singing at some points.
Yeah. That was when Brian Johnson left because his hearing, got messed up or something like that. I don't know. It's so interesting with I was. You know who Eddie Trunk is?
No, I don't.
He was definitely bigger in the 80s, 90s. He was a rock journalist, and he definitely handled a lot of the the metal bands at that time, and he's
Hit Parader,
kind of that type of guy.
Kerrang.
But definitely he was if there was a some sort of on site a big festival, and he would be at Donington or something like that, and he would be one of the on site reporters, and he was a writer, and just the whole concept of who owns these bands' names, and I think it was Quiet Riot. There wasn't even an original member of the band.
Yeah,
the drummer is the drummer who passed away a couple of weeks ago was the only one who owned the name. Because somehow he just finagled his way until never selling his stick.
Jeff, whatever is going on, he's the only one that can do Operation Mindcrime.
Right.
But the rest of the band can do their other catalog, and it's fucking weird as
so
shit.
It becomes these weird because they own the name. If you own the name to Motley Crue, let's say, I don't know, the second singer they had, that guy, if he owned the name for some reason, he could still tour as Motley Crue, and not have anyone in the band, and no one realized who they are.
Yeah.
And so it's always like interesting, like with those bands and how they operate. And I was thinking like AC/DC, like, oh, Brian Johnson. There was like rumors that Brian Johnson didn't have ear problems, that he was just kind of, they got sick of him and they let go of him to bring in like Axl Rose, and then went back and forth. But it's not like a band, like 4 guys playing in someone's garage anymore. It's a business,
Yeah. I mean, once you get to the point of they're as big as AC/DC or Guns N' Roses, like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Guns N' Roses is Axl Rose. Like that. Even though Slash came back and Duff McKagan came back, and they kind of did that reunion tour, it's still the band belongs to him. Those guys,
but no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like
but
they'll never be the Appetite band, the Live at the Ritz, Live at Donington. They'll never be that band.
No,
but and
he can generate interest by hiring those guys back. They make him more profits, and when he's sick of them again, he'll fire them.
I don't think he's wrong to fire them. Like, if you really look at it, they were fucked up. Like. I wouldn't want to try to corral a bunch of heroin addicts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's Slash. Yeah, you're the best guitar player in the business, but you can't stay awake for fucking, like, that sucks. Like, I don't know.
It's always interesting to read Slash, like, anecdotes. They're like, like the time thought someone was chasing him, and he, like, ran through, he was in, like, some sort of, like, condo off of a golf course. And he was on acid or something like that. And he thought some like lizard was chasing him. So he ran straight through the sliding glass door of the condo into the golf course, completely naked, and like passed out. And someone found him like hours later.
Good grief.
Like they were dealing with that.
It's
which
fucking
seems
bananas.
fun.
If you're gonna put a team together, who would be your starting? Say, let's go 1 through 9. Your best team all time. Starting pitcher.
With baseball?
Yeah,
regular baseball. Major League Baseball.
I mean, softball would obvly be me, but
I know.
we can do softball too.
I want.
Would you rather do softball?
No. Let's not. I'd rather be political and just to go with.
Because you can hurt people's feelings.
My number one.
Ian Fuller. I'm sorry, I'm a better pitcher than you. I don't know.
He is so mad right now. I'm looking here.
It is.
See if I got a text. Did I get a text from him? I don't know.
I mean.
I can't see if I got a text from him.
Regardless.
No, he hasn't said.
You didn't say I was better. It's okay.
I didn't. You said it. I didn't say anything.
But you're gonna go baseball. Baseball. Starting pitcher.
All-time starting pitcher. That I see. Okay. Here's that I seen or that I know about. I have to go here. Are we talking like
in our era? Like I would say, who's the hottest shit I've ever? Like obviously, fucking what the fuck's his name? That struck out everyone for the Dodgers. Fucking
Sandy Koufax.
I've never seen Sandy Koufax.
Right.
Best
so
pitcher I've probably seen in my life. Pedro Martinez.
Martinez for that 3-year span.
Yeah, Pedro
from like
Martinez.
when it was last year in Montreal, and his first maybe 3 years in Boston
was unstoppable. Like
I mean, but I think right out there was Randy Johnson though that whole time. And then Clemens had his moments.
I never
definitely
saw him. Like I saw a couple good Clemens games live, but I saw I don't think. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as the Pedro game.
Yeah. No, those guys that it seemed like they were going against each other at least kind of on a psychological level.
Yeah.
Randy Johnson and Pedro, especially for those years, and then it kind of wore out eventually, like when Pedro started getting hurt, and then for some reason Randy Johnson just shit the bed when he came to the Yankees.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Best catcher of your lifetime. Best catcher you've seen.
Overall catcher.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to go Pudge.
He was.
I was looking at like a ranking. Someone put Carter above Pudge, and I guess I don't remember Carter as much, But I always remember like Carter being like a really solid, like middle of the order hitter, but he was like a 270.
It's weird
you know.
because Pudge was in the steroid era, so like the numbers were so jacked the fuck
Yeah,
up,
right. He had those ridiculous numbers that probably are not real.
Yeah.
But he was always, which I don't know if you necessarily can attribute to steroids. He was a fantastic defensive catcher.
Yeah, he was
times.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, so was Carter though too, right?
Yeah. Carter was very good too. Yeah.
Oh,
But I just remember how like if like you look at Yadier Molina today, and Yadier Molina as an offensive player is at best an average player. Like if he played, let's say, second base and was a middling second baseman who average second baseman, you wouldn't even know his name.
Okay.
But he plays fantastic. But
he's
defense,
a great defensive catcher.
Yeah, and so he's always an all-star, and he's loved. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he ends up in the Hall of Fame one day. You know what I mean?
Hey, he hits for shit, huh?
Yeah, he's had some good years, but he's not like he's not like those prime Pudge years, where he was hitting 300 with 30 home runs.
Or even Posada years.
Yeah, right. He's never even had a season like Jorge has. Jorge's problem was his defense.
He was shit. He was garbage, yeah.
But he was such a consistent offensive hitter. Like you knew you got a switch hitter sitting there. He's going to hit you 25 home runs, 280, year in, year out.
I mean, almost Piazza. I mean, Piazza as well. Like, we talk about him. He was,
Well, Piazza's even more of a...
he was a much better hitter than Jorge.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that,
I remember those
would have played at any position.
Those Subway Series games, he was ferocious. I understood why Clemens hit him.
Because
he was gonna hit a fucking home run and win the fucking game. So why don't you fucking hit him?
Don't even go through the whole fucking drama. Save yourself some pitches for later.
Yeah, I don't know. It was bananas. Benny Agbayani. Yeah.
Okay, so we did first base. We'll go.
First base.
First base.
Keith Hernandez? You going to Hernandez?
Keith Hernandez is all defense. Mattingly, see, the problem is there's so many good offensive players at first base. Mattingly,
Jim Thome? You go Jim Thome?
I don't even know if I put him as a first baseman. He's almost strictly DH.
Eric Wilson?
Eric Wilson. I will give you Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson was the all-around hitter, right? Lefty.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I was a better first baseman, but whatever.
I didn't say you were better. I was saying all-around first baseman. The lefty, the ripped-up sweatpants. Stretching out. That's I guess Pujols. How do you deny Albert Pujols?
Pujols, was he the first? Yeah, okay.
I mean, really. I mean, unless somehow you catch him with steroids. I mean, really, he's had a ridiculous career.
All right. So second base, I go Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph?
Second baseman. No.
Over Roberto Alomar.
Didn't he spit on somebody's face or something?
Yeah, well, he's terribly human being. Is he a good second baseman? Yeah, probably one of the best ever. But he's a terrible.
Roberto Alomar is better than Willie Randolph?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say so. I love Willie Randolph. I always thought it was a mistake that they didn't give Willie Randolph more of a chance with the Mets. As a person, he's a great guy. And I remember him as a kid. I loved him. He's a great second baseman. But you think
Roberto Alomar is a better second baseman?
Well, I think Roberto Alomar has especially his big years. Are just like no one else has done it. I mean, we could even get into
they were in the big steroid years, but
well, you can say that too. Okay,
you want to get Brett Boone hit was 40-40.
Okay,
right?
I mean, where do you cut the line with steroid years? Because his best years are actually probably early 90s Toronto. Early 90s Toronto. 91, 92 in Toronto. It was he was a monster,
like Brett Boone, hit 2020.
But now here's the thing. Jeff Kent. Why isn't Jeff
Yeah.
Kent in the Hall of Fame right now?
Because he wasn't that good until he got really good.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
that good until he got really good, and then he got really good. Is what
Like,
you're right?
you know,
Am I wrong?
I don't think he ever got caught with steroids, right?
Okay, but I mean,
You know, he is like the Mike Piazza of second baseman. Like his defense is,
Yeah.
you know, but he hit like no one else. Like
Yeah.
his bat would have played at any position. You know, like
of course, yeah, he was a
Yeah,
savage.
yeah,
And he was also unlike Piazza. I think he was like not likable. I think everyone
no,
fucking
well,
hated.
I think
Everyone fucking hated Barry.
it was-
Everyone hated Jeff Kent.
Lance Berkman, I think, who played with him while he was on the Astros, and they were asking him, you know, I think asking Lance Berkman, you know, is he a racist or something? He's like, no, Jeff Kent just hates fucking everybody. He's a terrible human being.
Yeah. Whereas who was the other person we were talking about? Like they were like they're not. Yeah, I think he just wasn't a good. You know.
Yeah, Jeff Kent was, it's more because no one likes Jeff Kent, you know. Then there was the whole incident with his dirt bike.
What?
But you remember, like, he was in San Francisco, like, and I guess he blew out a knee in an off season, and you know he made up some ridiculous excuse that he was like washing his truck and he hurt his knee, and it ended up being that he was riding a dirt bike, which is in his contract not to do, you know.
Oh,
so to not lose the money, he made up some ridiculous excuse, and everyone always used to make fun. I remember the sports shows at the time would just make up like really ridiculous excuses, like, you know, like, oh, he was with Paul Abdul and they were, you know, like some stupid excuses why he was, you know, none of them made sense. You know, he was washing his truck and somehow he blew out his knee.
Ridiculous.
So okay, so we're going with who's our second? I'm going with Alomar. I don't think you can top Alomar in our lifetime.
Okay. Shortstop.
Is A-Rod a shortstop?
I mean, yeah. Do you want to think that's the best shortstop of the time?
I mean, have we ever seen a guy offensively like A-Rod at shortstop? And he won some Gold Gloves at shortstop too.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Yeah, you going A-Rod?
I don't know. I don't like the guy. I'm glad they're saying now there's no chance he's buying the Mets, and I'm glad. But I was actually intrigued. I was like, maybe he would know. He'd be a good owner. Maybe, because he's, you know, such a weird pick. But I can't picture that going right for the Mets.
Yeah.
Like, he you know, I can picture him, like, they always say, oh, he's a very, you know, big student of the game, you know. But, you know, this is a guy who came into the league when he was 19, you know. And whatever you want to say about steroids or something like that. But, you know, just the numbers he put up, you know, and, you know, most of his career at shortstop, but a good portion at third, you know.
I
But he
used
prob-
to regret,
but-
like, argue with Nick Rhodes, per se. Like, oh, you know, about Derek Jeter, how we just win more games or whatever, you know.
Well, like, Derek Jeter had his mojo. You know, I'll give you that. Like, you know, in a big spot, like, you know, I need a single in the bottom of the ninth. I'd probably pick Jeter over A-Rod. You know, like
I'm calling Ian Fuller. We're bringing him in. What do you think about that? You all right with that? Hey, do I still got you, Paul Vance?
Kevin Sharp.
Yeah, I was trying to call Ian Fuller, but then I lost you for somehow.
Can we do a three-way call?
I was trying to do that. That's what I was trying to do.
Let me try and get him on my line.
All right.
All right, hold on. Fuller. Oh. 7166 is his book.
You got it? Hello? 1, 2, 3, 4. Get that Fuller on the floor. Gotta get up to get down.
Hello?
Hello? I got you.
Hello.
What are we listening to? Let me see here. All right, turn the speakers off.
Oh, we got Ian Fuller. What? What? Bananas.
Okay,
All right.
2 outs, bottom of the ninth. You have a runner on third. You need a single to get a guy home. Who's your guy at bat?
Shit. I think I'm going Tony Gwynn.
Was Tony Gwynn clutch? I mean, he hit like 330. Was he clutch?
I don't know. I mean, I'd go Paul Neal because that'd be the first.
Over Jeter?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Was Jeter a big? Yeah.
Well, we were talking shortstop, and we said who's the better shortstop. I said A-Rod is just clearly like no one's ever.
Yeah, you wouldn't want A-Rod. You definitely wouldn't want A-Rod.
Jeter is better in the 2 outs in the ninth situation.
Yeah,
of course. You said Paul O'Neill, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Watching the World Series with Jim DeGrassi, I will never forget. I mean, I don't know what the score was, but it was one of those moments as a Mets fan, you know they're going to lose. But, like, the Mets are up, Benitez is on the mound, and Paul O'Neill is at the plate.
Me and Paul Flans were at that game.
DeGrassi is screaming, unwavering faith, unwavering faith, unwavering faith.
No.
And I think we all know what happened. The World Series lost with Paul O'Neill. So in that scenario, I trust that Paul O'Neill will probably always get the hit because I watched it happen and I watched my dreams be crushed forever.
Woof.
That's so funny, like the idea of a clutch hitter and like and they measure these things too, like
Well, it's like we've played softball and it's like who. You see certain dudes up at a certain time, and you're like, "Oh shit, good things are gonna happen," or they're not, or It's
well,
like,
you know who I remember as a kid. You remember Dave Stewart, the pitcher for the Oakland A's.
Okay, yeah.
Dave
Stewart. Yeah, right. He was this big, tall guy, like built, and he for those late '80s A's, and he for some reason was like dominant in the postseason. Yeah. You throw him on the mound in a World Series or an ALCS game, and he was just a monster, and you couldn't stop him. And then you look at his career numbers in the regular season, he's like, you wouldn't be hurt if he never was on your team. You wouldn't, But if you got him in the right situation, suddenly he turned, the juice up or whatever. Well, maybe literally the juice up, but and was a fantastic player, a fantastic pitcher, And some of those guys are just like that, like Daniel Murphy in 2015, that was insane,
Yeah.
Just like good, mediocre player that just has a banana season.
Yeah, I mean, and they some reason hit. Is it just a small sample of at bats, or is there something about being a clutch hitter? Is there such thing as a clutch hitter?
I don't know.
You remember when Francisco Rodriguez came up right at the end of the season, and then they just mowed through everybody in the playoffs? He was just like he was unhittable, and he was like 19 or 20, some ridiculous thing. It was like a secret weapon.
Yeah,
just right time, right moment, and it looks like clutch, but just right time, right moment.
Yeah, I mean, and no one had any 19, 20. No one has any real scouting reports on the guy.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure him out, and it was too late in the year to try and go back and find out, anything about it, So,
what do you guys both think about sporting events? Like, do you think it'll ever go back to normal?
Shit, I don't know. I think the big overall thing is going to be some sort of vaccine, and what that means and what we can do.
And you think we get a vaccine, then we'll just go back to exactly the same thing we used to do?
No way, because people aren't going to take it.
Yeah.
I don't. Will it run its course? I mean, has any country successfully did the herd immunity thing?
No, definitely not.
No.
I mean, but.
Yeah, it's scary, So
I don't know.
It's really hard. It's really hard to picture hopping on the train, going through Grand Central, hopping on the 7 to go to City Field.
Like that's up all around other people.
At this point, it's like unimaginable. It's like when would I feel okay doing that again? And I don't even.
That's okay. You can come to my house, and we will from there we can get to City Field really. Okay, take a car, come down here. Socially distance in the car. I'll get an air mattress. You guys will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wish. Like, it's fucking... It's,
One of the reasons I moved to Bayside was I am 10 minutes by train to fucking City Field. I
Yeah.
could watch. I was doing it, like last year and the year before.
You might
get on.
You might catch something at a Mets game in a good year. Like
Yeah.
Good grief. Yeah, I had other points I wanted to bring up, but I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Okay, well, we were going through the best baseball team all time.
Okay,
Third base.
Third base,
third
Craig
baseman.
Nettles. Is obviously Craig Nettles.
I loved him as a kid. I loved Craig Nettles as a kid.
Why are you getting it? Why did you start loving baseball? Because of Craig Nettles.
Yes.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah, that's
Roasted.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. Number
All right.
9. Number 9.
All right. Left field. Left field.
I mean,
Darryl Strawberry? Is it Darryl Strawberry?
Darryl was right field.
Oh, Darryl's right.
At least with the Mets, he was right field.
Okay. Darryl,
He had a great
left
arm.
field. Ricky.
Ooh, how can you go against Ricky unless
I mean, Ricky
either-
Henderson. I don't know.
It's either Ricky or Bonds. And
I go with Ricky over Bonds. Fuck the records. Like,
well, here's the thing.
Ian Fuller knows Ricky Henderson's like he used to have like a weird sayings when he was a Met, right?
Oh, he was great when he was a Met. He was actually. I loved him as a Met.
I appreciate Ricky Henderson, but man, if you're really fielding a team tomorrow, Ricky Henderson over Bonds. Ooh. I mean, Bonds is probably one of the most unlikable figures ever in baseball, but man.
All right, I'll take a leadoff hitter. I'll take a leadoff hitter that's gonna take a pitch, try to get hit by it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll take a leadoff hitter that's gonna end up on second base, and that was Ricky Henderson. Like,
right. Well, here's the issue. You can debate whether he's the best left fielder. You can't debate whether he's not the greatest leadoff hitter. I don't think there's even anyone close.
He's not the best. He's obviously the best leadoff hitter. Yeah.
I mean, is there a better Ty Cobb? I think is the only one who I think people put in the same category as him.
Fair enough.
But even Ricky, what was it? It's the 1 year he was with the Yankees. He had 28 home runs. Right-hander in Yankee Stadium.
Most leadoff home runs from home runs from a leadoff hitter. Just on accident, because he was like, "Hey, if you're just gonna throw him down the middle, I'm gonna home runs."
Yeah, and because and Yankee Stadium is notoriously tough on right-handed hitters, for home runs.
Yeah.
So and he just said, so you knew he could do that. He had power, he had speed. He was at an amazing eye at the plate. He studied. I mean, he was so he's self-absorbed, but he took the job of being a leadoff hitter to just a different level. He was and I remember I always got mad at the Mets. After he retired, the Mets hired him as a first base coach. And he kind of mentored Jose Reyes as a leadoff hitter for that 1 or 2 years that he was. And those are the best 2 years of Jose Reyes' career was when, he had, Ricky Henderson there kind of telling him what to do,
Kev's going to pee off camera now slightly.
Oh, all right. So it's just us.
Oh, no, I think my screen is way delayed, but last time he was half on camera, and it was kind of funny.
Wait, you saw him pee? What?
It was just he grabbed his bucket and his elbow was in the picture. I'm wow.
Wait, he has a bucket now? I didn't even see that.
No, he has a jug. He has a jug.
I didn't even know that.
He was just off camera peeing in the jug, and then he forgot to zip up until he was on camera. He might get blocked on Facebook for that one. That'll be in the news. That'll be in the news tomorrow. Trump lies and Kevin Schlong. Both blocked on Facebook.
Two dicks.
You guys are all the fucking worst. Yes, I was peeing off camera.
That's funny.
Ian was right. I was peeing off camera.
New York Cosmos, front day.
All right, Ian Fuller, who's your best fucking right fielder? All
I don't
time.
know. I don't know. I can't. I don't remember
know
anything.
shit.
You know, I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Right field, left field, center.
Ian Fuller, what did you have for lunch today?
Oh, I know what I had for lunch today because it was exciting. I had a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Well, how was it? Good? It was pretty good, right?
Delish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know left field, right field. You know, I can't.
Whatever.
remember anything. I don't know.
We, you know, that's not true. You love certain teams. Fucking, what is it? Edgardo Alfonso. You
Edgardo
love
Alfonso. What
You
was he? A
love
second baseman?
it. Second
No.
baseman.
Yeah.
We both love. We all love Edgardo Alfonso.
Yeah. No, Edgardo Alfonso was amazing.
Who was that?
I
John
remember-
John Olerud at that time. John
Oh,
fucking Olerud.
John Olerud was fun.
He's
Yeah.
my favorite all-time Met. I think one of the all.
Al Leiter was like a.
Al Leiter. Right?
Al Leiter is probably still my favorite Mets pitcher of all time. Although it's getting tough. It's getting close.
The Grom has been fucking nasty, man. Like
DeGrom, Syndergaard, and my potential all-time favorite R.A. Dickey. You know, they're all in the running.
What
they're all in the
about
running.
Turk Wendell? You know, if Turk Wendell started a cult.
Turk Wendell's fun. I somewhat for some reason I always liked Roger McDowell. I don't even remember why. I just always liked him.
Well, Roger McDowell is kind of like the
Childhood, you know.
He's kind of the Ramiro Mendoza of his era, where he would like
Yeah.
it's 3 innings, 2 innings, whatever. He would just go out there,
Yeah.
close. He's before like the closer role became so like defined that you have to go 9 innings.
Sure.
That's it. Guys who pitch like
Yeah.
6 outs are like some sort of freak of nature.
Yeah.
He was all purpose. He'd occasionally set his teammates on fire.
Right,
he was,
exactly.
He provided excitement.
All right. Well, listen.
Geez.
I love
We
you.
haven't
dude.
got to center field yet. We have to do center field.
Who's your favorite center fielder? Like, is
Ken
it
Griffey
fucking?
Jr. I
is
mean,
it
in my lifetime, Ken Griffey Jr. I don't think you can top. His
Ken
Seattle
Griffey
years
Jr.? Yeah.
are just stupid, right? I mean, is there any better player?
Oh.
His Seattle years.
Who's
Ken
that dude
Griffey.
from the Orioles that fucking hit 50 home runs? Brady.
Right, but that was 1 year.
Yeah,
like,
no, fuck that dude. But yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
He got on a good cycle, you could say.
Yeah, right.
Who's the best? Yeah, I mean Ichiro.
No, the best.
Ichiro.
I remember this when I was like, he was like 93, right after he had, like right around the time he hit the 50 home runs.
Yeah.
He like posted a picture online or somewhere of himself like on a shirt and like posing, and it became like the #1 gay website picture. So he's like doing his steroids, thinking he's the man, and then he becomes a gay icon.
Fair enough.
There you go. You kept that.
I don't know, Ian Fuller. Who's your best center fielder?
Let's see. I had
I mean,
Cameron on my
Bernie.
fantasy baseball
Bernie.
team. He was terrible, but
Mike Cameron, I love him.
Bernie
I'll
baseball.
throw him. I'll throw him a vote because he had a good glove.
I mean, Bernie Williams, man, is hard. To
Bernie
fucking-
Williams was rock solid. Couldn't play defense, especially towards the end of his career, though.
yeah.
Closer. End it with closer. Come on. Is there even a
Oh,
conversation?
Okay, let's end it with closer.
It's
and get the fuck
Mariano,
out.
right?
It's got to be Mariano.
It has to be.
Ian Fuller is gonna say Benito.
No, are you kidding?
Benitez.
Are you kidding? No way in the world.
Benito's good days, he was great, but it was like
Yeah.
you never knew what you were getting. You
So-
knew when he stepped on the mound. You knew when he stepped.
So Rivera, hands down, the best. But Sharpie, I actually have a question for you about closers.
Okay.
You once told me a story about Billy Wagner that I always assumed was true, and I repeated it countless times.
Yeah.
And I've always recently I've wondered, is there any truth in it at all? It was that he became a lefty because he broke his right arm and he threw
Yeah.
a ball at a piece of plywood in his backyard.
Yeah.
Where did you hear that?
I read that in an article somewhere. I don't know. It's before the internet was that, overall. But yeah,
I tried to find that story and I haven't been able to find it. I love this story. I think it's an amazing story. I want it to be true so bad.
And honestly, Billy Wagner's career went kind of southish. Like
The second he
Yeah.
joined the Mets.
yeah,
The Mets.
exactly.
As happens,
Yeah.
as tends to happen when you come to the Mets. Yeah.
Woof.
I remember
It is
that.
what it is. But what do you guys think that sports will continue to happen? Like,
I don't. What are we gonna do? I miss sports. I still don't think of us as having sports.
There's too much money. There's too much money for the leagues to just give up.
But
they'll figure out a way.
Like my issue is that in the last 20 years, like 20 years ago, the three of us could go and see a fucking game for like $200 between us, which is still a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money between three dudes, and we can still see that.
Yeah.
Now there's no fucking way we could see a game for like we like $200 each. We'd have to see a fucking game. Like, it's gotten so expensive and so fucking.
It's social distancing night at Yankee Stadium.
I mean,
6 feet between seats. Here's your $700 ticket.
Yeah. I mean,
like, I don't know how it gets done.
Beyond the social distancing shit, it's just like shit was too out of control before. Like, how do we, as people like us that like want to go see some fucking games, like,
Yeah. Like if we get to the point where they can start getting people back to the stadiums at a reasonable rate, where they could maybe open up a full stadium to a game, how many people are actually going to go? How are you going to make that attractive? Because there's going to be people who are going to be like, I'm just not ready yet.
Yeah. But it's the same with music. I mean, how do you get music venues back open? How do you get concerts? How do you,
Right. Oh my God. Yeah.
How do you even get like crowded bars? Like it's
it's just like with sports, you want them to still happen. So it's like that's different than I can live with if Metallica doesn't play next year, but I want to.
Well, you can enjoy a baseball game on television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not really going to enjoy a concert on television.
Are you guys? I heard you guys talk about it a little bit earlier, but you guys watching any games right now? You watching any sports right now?
I'm not. I don't have a package for the Mets, where I get my cable, and I'm afraid to like invest in it. I'm like, what am I getting? Am I going to? So I've been watching a lot of stuff on like the ESPN Gamecast, and stuff like that. So I'll keep it open in my computer and listen to it, or not listen to it, but like, check on and see who's in, who's out, to pull this guy in, which is not really watching a game, I guess, but at least I'm keeping track of what the Mets are doing, but like my big thing is like, now it's like YouTube. I'm obsessed with YouTube. It's bad. Ian Floyd, you're gonna like this. If you had a chance to like watch a TV show on YouTube, regular YouTube, watch Vice Grip Garage.
Vice Grip Garage. All right.
Definitely one of the best things I've ever seen. A guy like will go and pick up a car in like Minnesota. No, he's from Minnesota, so he'll go like down to Ohio, pick up a car that hasn't been run in 10 years, fix it up, and drive it back to Minnesota.
See, that's what Roadkill used to be until Roadkill went big budget, and they got first it was through Motor Trend, and then they got picked up by. Now you have to pay to see Roadkill, but initially that's what Roadkill was. They were like a writer and editor from like car magazines, and they would do the same thing. They'd go out and they'd buy a car, and they'd have to fix it on the road, and it was kind of like these guys are crazy, and it was funny, it was entertaining, and you learned stuff too. But then they went big time.
Okay, now but there's this one guy. He does it. He owns a shop in Minnesota, and he'll just be like nowadays, even people will be like, listen, I have a car, a 72 Camaro in out of like 800 miles away. He'll fly down there with whatever tools he can carry in his luggage, and get it started and drive it, 900 miles home.
Yeah, that's it. I would watch. It's sad to say, but I would watch that right now. I'd be wildly entertained.
And he's funny. He's funny too. Like he's got a very good good sense of humor about it. That I watch, and then the other thing, there was like a couple of years ago, Jess's nephews. They used to watch like these things on TV. I guess maybe do your kids watch this? Where like it's like basically a commercial for a toy where it's another kid just playing with a toy. You ever see those?
I mean, I've seen like like the opening, the unboxing things. But
Yeah, right.
no,
And they open them and
it's
they
not
play
really a
with
thing
them.
they're into.
And I'm like, man, that was so stupid. I used to get mad at them. I was like, it's targeting the kids, and the kids are going to go to the parents. I used to say, this is the biggest act of bullshit. Now what I do is I watch guys like try out guitar pedals.
Guitars, I know. I've done that too.
I'm like, I need that now. I'm
like, wow, I'm a dork. I've fully rolled into that.
I mean, I can watch an hour of a guy playing with like
You guys
this
are out of your
guitar
minds.
pedal and being like, I need that.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's been me. That's been me and COVID. I mean, that explains my basement right now.
Some guy like plays this thing. You're like, oh, that'd be so great. It'd be work out perfectly.
Sharpie, are we off air now?
No, you're still on air, but we're good. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that pedal on the floor. Gotta get over the good on.
The picture changed on my screen, so I thought that meant things were over, which is,
I mean, I can
Okay.
cut it off whenever we want, I suppose. But,
we can move. We can move to a video.
Yeah.
We could do a Zoom call
Yeah, we could do
or
a
whatever,
Zoom call. I mean,
or a Google call. Let's do that.
all right.
Is it a good time to end it?
Hey, here we go. Let me go and.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. You have to. My computer is dead. Batteries.
I'm gonna pee. Somebody send me an invite.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us for episode 16 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. We're gonna close it out now with a song by Helmet.
Oh no! One more thing.
Yeah, what?
I just want to know, like before I came out, I was going to ask you this question, and I didn't get a chance. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. So, am I the guest? Am I like Jack Hanna? You remember Jack Hanna?
No. Oh, the guy that had the animals?
Yeah, he would come on Johnny Carson, and it was very obvious, like they were trying to fill time and just throw someone on there. Am I just Jack Hanna?
Here, you want to know if you're Jack Hanna?
Yes. Like the guests they just throw on when they can't find anyone.
Can you hear that?
What? What?
No, can you not hear that?
I can't hear. I can hear nothing, but I can hear your voice. No, I can't hear whatever. Hello? Sorry, I lost you. Sorry. Well, if you can't hear me, what's going on?
$15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. That sounds about right. That sounds metal as fuck.
15 Beers on Tuesday afternoon is a Crazy Rev Kev production.